Welcome to Da'ai Headlines. I'm Anthony Carlisle. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in today's show, quick relief for 148 families who lost their homes in another shantytown fire in the Philippines. Who gets priority to water in a drought, farms or factories? We answer that question in our continuing series of reports on agriculture in Taiwan. And the 13th Jing Bookstore and Cafe opens in Malaysia, in Seremban, on the west coast of the peninsula. First up today, another fire struck Manila, the capital of the Philippines, on Thursday the 19th of May last week. 148 families in the Santa Cruz neighbourhood lost their homes and belongings in the blaze. Tzu was on the scene the day after to conduct a disaster review in preparation for an aid distribution which took place on Saturday, May 21st.
In Manila, one mattress serves as a bed for this family of 6. With their home destroyed in a blaze, they have taken temporary shelter at a local school. In the Filipino capital's Santa Cruz district, another fire has brought devastation to the lives of 148 families. Tzu quickly arrives to help. To help these families left with nothing, volunteers gave out distribution vouchers and returned the next day to deliver on their promises. A victim of the fire, Lilia Tajuko, has also recently lost her husband. Under the care of a Tzu volunteer, her eyes brim with tears of sadness and gratitude.
It is really hard to take. I just recently lost my husband and now I have lost my house. I thank you all so much. I never thought there would be people that would come and help. We truly feel the love that has been given to us by so many.
In addition to bringing material supplies, volunteers can be seen in and around the still smoldering ruins of houses, offering encouragement and support to the victims.
I thank you all so much. Without your help, we would not be able to restart our lives. I pray that we will be able to find our way out of the situation and find normalcy in our lives again.
Tirelessly offering essential supplies as well as a sympathetic ear and a shoulder to cry on, volunteers work hard to ensure that the victims quickly pass through this dark hour in their lives.
In Jordan, Tzu volunteers visit 28 Bedouin families sheltering in the Wadi Abdun area of Amman on a monthly basis. The rising cost of food has made life more difficult for these former desert dwellers who lack identification documents and citizenship. Volunteers also regularly travel to the Jordan River Valley to distribute supplies to 200 families living in the area.
We have arrived at the Jordan River Valley with supplies for 200 households.
In Jordan, Tzu volunteers have prepared ample amounts of supplies for today's distribution and must work together when unloading them from the truck.
A bag requires 2 people working together. Come now, 2 people per bag. That way it's not too heavy. Thank you, thank you.
Despite rising food costs, volunteers include rice, beans, oil, sugar, and tea in the supplies to alleviate the financial burden on the residents of this low-lying area. Most of those receiving the supplies are women and elderly, and the volunteers thoughtfully help them carry the heavy supplies home.
We thank them first for giving us the opportunity to serve. It's okay to hug them.
Many local residents and Chinese have been inspired to help out.
Say thank you and bow lower. It's okay. Right, thank you.
Tzu's humanity is demonstrated in the distribution, as volunteers carry out the work with sincerity and respect. They also remember to inspire local children.
Remember, today we came here to see our brother, sister here. You must study where in the future you are Mohammed's doctor. You don't need to come here.
Next, volunteers travel to Amman for their monthly visit. These nomadic Bedouins used to live in the desert raising camels, but have now become shepherds. As time has changed, 28 families without identification and citizenship have taken shelter in the Wadi Abdul area of the capital. For them, finding work is difficult. Here, a candy or a tomato is a wonderful treat for the children. And for the volunteers, it is about building an everlasting bond with these people.
Situated deep in a hilly part of Tainan County in southern Taiwan, Guanshan lacks access to healthcare resources. For residents, a visit to the hospital means a 50-minute drive. That's why Tzuji's regular free clinics are so valuable to the farming community.
Early in the morning, Kima members are already in Tainan's remote Guanshan for a free clinic. This grandpa is touched by the doctor's tender and thorough examination. After seeing this ENT specialist, this grandma takes the opportunity to see a Chinese medicine doctor as well. Guanshan is without a doctor or pharmacist, and a trip to the hospital is at least a 50-minute car ride.
The hospital is too far away. The men have no time to take us, and we women can't walk there.
This is very convenient. Whatever symptoms we have, we can get them checked.
Most of seniors here are farmers. Tzuji's free clinics bring quality care to their doorsteps. Each medical volunteer is glad to serve, even if it means waking up early.
When I woke up early this morning, I was taken by how peaceful it was. It's been a long time since I have enjoyed such a beautiful morning. We typically don't wake up this early on Sunday. In this way, it's a blessing for me.
Caring for their patients like their own family, Kima members have warmed the hearts of Guanshan's residents.
Another story about hospital workers caring for patients like their own family, also from Guanshan, but this time the Guanshan in Taidong on the east coast of Taiwan. A 2-month-old baby from the township was diagnosed with a rare muscular tumour. His family couldn't afford treatment, but through the help of Guanshan Tzuji volunteers, the boy is now receiving treatment at Hualien Tzuji Hospital. His parents, who work odd jobs, sometimes don't even have the money to visit him every day. Thus, medical staff together took care of the child and provided milk powder.
2-month-old NN was diagnosed with a rare muscular tumor disease at birth and has since gone through 2 surgeries. The little boy is now undergoing treatment for his illness.
His clinical manifestation happened too fast, and later we found some tumors in other parts of his body. So far, we are giving him radiation therapy, a combination of electrotherapy and chemotherapy.
Every day, NN receives electrotherapy and needs to be anesthetized. However, the little boy hardly cries. Coming from an impoverished family, NN's parents who work odd jobs cannot afford to visit him every day. Treating the child as their own, medical staff not only care for the boy, but also provide milk powder.
We cannot do a lot, but at least we can take care of the child while he is here and provide milk powder. This is everyone's intention.
Social workers also passed the family's case to the Childhood Cancer Foundation and Tzuji volunteers in hopes to support the family through future challenges.
Taiwan recently received some welcome relief when the long-awaited spring rain came to refill the emptying reservoirs. The crisis led to the question of when there's a water shortage, what comes first, farmland or factories? The government policy is to prioritise the industrial sector. Since agriculture already uses over 70% of Taiwan's water supply, some people say it's only fair. But on the other hand, considering the large amount of rainfall that Taiwan gets over the year, other experts say that the country should be concentrating on how to retain its water supply rather than argue over who gets it. In the continuing series of features on the agricultural policy in Taiwan, we take a closer look at the issues.
抗旱的问题呢，当作一个国家安全的问题来对待，赶快做一些协调。那比想象中的还要更为严苛一些。
From the president to city mayors, the Water Resources Agency and ordinary citizens, the drought in Taiwan this year was a major issue. But just when farmers are crying out for water for their paddy fields, the government is following its policy to transfer some of the supply for agriculture to industry.
When we consider economic development in industrial zones designated by the government, if they urgently need water, it is taken first from the agricultural sector, because our farms can keep going for 3 to 4 days, or even a week.
The agricultural sector uses 71.3% of Taiwan's water, as much as 12.84 billion tons. When compared to the industrial sector's 1.64 billion tons, you can see why some people blame farmers for wasting water.
India is also a rice-growing country. Its water consumption is 86%. Indonesia is 91%. Thailand 95%. So compared to other paddy field countries, Taiwan's agricultural demand is not that high.
Earlier this year, the reservoir that supplies Taiwan's Hsinchu Science Park and the Hsinchu area only had 20 days of water left.
Back then, our Administration and Science Park Association called on our factories to exercise self-constraint, asking them to try to cut water use by 3%.
The major international semiconductor and circuit board factories in Hsinchu need at least 3,000 tons of water a day. Before operators move to the park, they must first come up with a water conservation plan.
Our factories understand the value of water. In their manufacturing process, they work hard to recycle. They are up to over 85%, and some operators have reached 90%.
Yet the 60 million tons of water that the agricultural sector transfers to the industrial sector every year is only 1% of the total used by Taiwan's farmers. Instead of competing for a limited amount of water, perhaps the two sectors should be looking for ways to increase supply.
The rainfall we get seems to be very near the top in the world, but it may be we're not storing enough.
Taiwan's annual average rainfall is second or third in the world, but only 1/5 of it is used, which is why Taiwan suffers from water shortages. The key issue is how to capture and properly use that precious supply.
Staying on the topic of farming, on Tuesday, Taiwan's Council of Agriculture organised a Centennial Excellence in Agriculture Award in which 10 individuals were honoured for their contributions to the sector. Among the recipients, Lin Qingyuan from Taidong was the only rice grower. Over the years, Lin discovered that a prerequisite for growing quality rice is a thorough understanding of the various types of rice breeds, as well as the kinds of soil and fertiliser that work best for them. Lin says that the work involved is not for everyone, but he gains a sense of satisfaction by being able to help his fellow farmers succeed.
Lin Qingyuan steps up to receive this year's Excellence in Agriculture Award from Taiwan's President Ma Ying-jeou. For several decades, Lin has devoted his life to working out the optimal environment and growing methods for every strain of rice and has personally succeeded in improving the overall quality of rice in Taiwan. Lin's passion is driven by his personal experience in farming, which started at a young age.
My father passed down the family business to me. In the early days, we worked hard for a pittance. However, in the last 10 years, I realized that farmers had been neglecting the vital role that rice breeds can play, so I decided to focus on that.
A swarthy figure, Lin says that farming is hard work, but the gratification he gets from helping other farmers is unparalleled. As well, along the way, he has found the true value of being a farmer.
Seeing rice seedlings grow and sharing with other farmers cultivation tips makes me feel that all the hard work has been worthwhile.
Every one of these winners on stage has sweat blood to nurture the best the earth has to offer, and their gratification comes from knowing the true worth of their commitment.
Staying in Taiwan, city volunteers in Pingdong have been promoting vegetarian food in a local neighbourhood. Working with the Dazhou Community Development Association, the volunteers provide meatless meals at the monthly gathering for senior residents.
It is time for the monthly gathering of seniors in Dazhou Borough in Pingdong City. The event kicks off with a warm-up exercise, followed by a lecture on vegetarianism.
The earth is running low on natural resources, so it is important that we minimize our killing of animals. They're living beings just like us.
While the lecture goes on, a group of volunteers is cooking up a storm in the kitchen, dishing out delicious meatless treats for the gathering that will now offer only vegetarian food to its participants.
We're trying to promote the ideas of environmentalism and carbon reduction and help the community better understand the needs of our planet.
Taking on a greener diet to lessen the burden on the planet, seniors at Dazhou Borough are taking the lead to show their support for the environment.
Following the SARS epidemic back in 2003, the Malaysian Tzu Chi chapter declared May of each year Vegetarian Month in hopes of gathering good thoughts and minimizing disasters around the world. To encourage more people to take on a meatless diet, volunteers from all around the country work together to prepare vegetarian lunchboxes for members of the public. In our next report, we see how volunteers in Johor Bahru are working together to deliver more than 500 lunchboxes every day.
It's a scene of hustle and bustle here at Johor Bahru in Malaysia, as Tzu Chi volunteers prepare over 500 vegetarian lunchboxes every day. Malaysia's Tzu Chi chapter has declared May of each year as Vegetarian Month and invites members of the public to join them in a meatless diet.
There are many disasters now, right? We must encourage more people to take on vegetarianism. I found some people and encouraged them to go on a meatless diet.
Needing to deliver the lunchboxes at a set time each day, volunteers work hand in hand to complete their given tasks.
I look forward to that lunchbox every day, and when I open it, wow, it's always very colorful. It makes me very happy.
Since I took on a vegetarian diet, I have become more compassionate. I used to kill the insects I saw at night. Now I don't. I just use a piece of paper and sweep them out.
Through promoting a meatless diet, all learn that vegetarianism is no longer just a religious belief, but one that can help reduce their carbon footprint and save our planet.
In Seremban, Malaysia, Tzu Chi opened the country's 13th Jing Books and Cafe. The shop will help promote Tzu Chi's missions and will also be a pit stop where people can come in, wind down and cleanse their souls.
Following its unveiling, Tzu Chi Seremban Jing Books and Cafe is open for business, making it the 13th Jing Books and Cafe in Malaysia.
I thank the generosity of so many people for helping us to open such a nice and comfortable bookstore in which people can enjoy reading good books.
I think the opening of the bookstore is a significant milestone in propagating Tzu Chi's missions here in Seremban.
Courteous smiles and excellent service are new customers' first impression upon entering the bookstore.
Oh, it's wonderful. People here are more compassionate. It's like being among family members.
The Zen-style Buddhist decor helps bring about calmness and serenity and encourages people to step in and take a break.
The ambience here is definitely something you don't find at other bookstores. You can definitely feel that besides selling books, this is also a place for cultivating spiritual growth.
The bookstore will help see Tzu Chi's humanity in Seremban and be a rest stop for people to cleanse their spirit.
From Malaysia to Taiwan for our next story, where we introduce you to Tzu Chi volunteer Wei Mingzhu. Running a successful business for over 20 years, she got into the habit of buying designer clothes and became outspoken and opinionated. It wasn't until 3 years ago when she met Ji that she began to change. Now she's taking part in the musical Water Repentance.
这个好像3万多块，这樱桃包。
Wei Mingzhu, now a City volunteer, shows the reporter one designer bag after another and many other expensive pieces of clothing that she possesses.
This stuff is just like drugs. The more we buy, the better quality we want. It's the same with clothes.
As an entrepreneur, Wei would not go out without knowing that she was wearing $1 million worth of clothing and accessories.
When I went out in the morning, I would check how much my watch, my bracelet, bag and other items were worth.
Wei Mingzhu was not only particular with her appearance, but also had an outspoken personality.
Every time I got a call from Sister Wei, I would be really nervous. She usually made quite a large order and expected us to deliver it real quickly.
Living a life of luxury for decades, Wei finally met Ji 3 years ago. In her study group sessions, she has had a chance to reflect on her life.
Before, I used to tell others that I'm a good person. Now, listening to the Water Repentance Sutra, I don't dare say that anymore because I feel I have broken so many precepts.
Letting go of her expensive habits and returning to a simple life, Wei Mingzhu is now most comfortable in her blue and white uniform.
On this day, the 26th of May, in 1988, from this day on, made in Taiwan pharmaceuticals came under GMP qualification rules. In 2005, the restrictions were expanded to Chinese medicine. The legislation of pharmaceuticals and clinical trials protects the rights of Taiwanese consumers. Song Qingling was a student at the junior high school attached to Ji University. Despite suffering bone cancer, she brightly faced up to her condition, even volunteering and encouraging other patients. That's why on this day in 2005, she won a Zhou Daguan Foundation Global Love for Life Award. At the 8th annual awards, she was the youngest winner. Argentina's Santiago del Estero province has some of the worst poverty and highest illiteracy rate in the whole country. Ji volunteers drove 14 hours to organize their first free clinic in the province on this day in 2006. In partnership with hospital workers who joined up as volunteers, Ji helped stimulate local charity healthcare.
Finally today we bring you pictures of Tainan Siji Elementary School students on a field trip to the environmental station in Rende, where they learned how to crush plastic bottles and dismantle home appliances. Thank you for watching Dai Headlines. Goodbye.